Hi there. This video is the 13th of a series dedicated to my book Blockchain plus Antitrust, the Decentralization Formula. You can access all the chapters following the link in the description. In previous videos, I have explained why blockchain and antitrust should be combined. I showed that it creates synergies and ends up beneficiating both. This is true despite all the tensions between blockchain and antitrust that I explored from the 6th to the 12th video of this series. In today's video, I want to explain how to combine blockchain and antitrust from a very practical point of view. I want to detail how we can address those tensions while implementing a mutually benefiting cooperation. This idea is captured by the concept of law plus technology instead of law and technology, in which you simply use the law to address the issues created by the technology. Here, I want to explore how to combine law and technology to reach the objective of decentralization. But first, I need to highlight the main challenges created by blockchain when enforcing the law, including antitrust. Only then will I be able to provide working solutions. The first challenge relates to the digital fortress blockchain is creating. Of course, enforcement is questioned every time a new fundamental technology appears. Some had predicted the death of antitrust law when the internet appeared, and yet antitrust is very much alive. But I believe things could be different with blockchain. Blockchain, as you know now, is a transactional technology built around two key features: encryption and immutability. One, blockchain uses encryption techniques that anonymize not only the identity of participants, but also that of transactions. We covered together how much this complicates the work of antitrust agencies. For sure, agencies will develop analytic tools to reveal real-life identities and detect patterns. They could also rely on private firms to do so, but even if they succeed, blockchain architecture will greatly complicate enforcement. The absence of a single point of failure explains it. As for immutability, let me take a concrete example. Suppose one implements an anti-competitive smart contract on a blockchain with no kill function or pre-programmed technical solutions to stop this smart contract. In that case, the blockchain will continue to perform the transactions for as long as the terms apply and assets are made available. In fact, the same problem will be encountered with smart contracts that are not anti-competitive but help regular business activities. Code will self-execute and put parties in an uneasy situation if they wish to stop the smart contract. So, how to design blockchain regulation in this context? We need to find solutions for the law to be enforceable when necessary. This is where I introduce the Magic Four. I believe that 4 criteria should be taken into account when designing regulations that will impact blockchains. 1. Manageability. 2. Objectivity. 3. Accuracy. And 4. Flexibility. Manageability refers to the cost of implementing and enforcing regulation. Simple regulations drive enforcement costs down, but they may be easy to circumvent. On the contrary, complex regulations are more costly to enforce, but harder to avoid. Accuracy refers to the idea that regulation should minimize false positives on the one hand and false negatives on the other. Objectivity implies that a regulation's objective should be transparent, known to all the players, and that enforcement should be consistent. And last, flexibility implies that regulation should achieve its goal in the least intrusive way possible to preserve heterogeneity and competition. Now, I am sorry to report that there are trade-offs between these objectives. We can't maximize them all at the same time, but of course, we may prefer specific balances between them, and in fact it appears that certain regulations get to maximize more of those objectives. To be concrete, on the one hand there is a trade-off for regulators between accuracy and manageability. The more accurate a regulation, the costlier. Think about it this way: one could give a free pass to all forms of decentralized finance or NFTs. This would be extremely easy to enforce as the regulator won't have anything to do. But of course, this could also create false negatives, allow scams and Ponzi schemes. And the opposite is also true. If you prohibit all DeFi projects, you will create false positive and remove useful products from the market. On the other end, there is another trade-off between increasing objectivity and flexibility. the less a regulation is flexible, the more regulators and companies can apply it or comply with it in a consistent and certain way. But flexibility allows for innovation. And in fact, coercing agents eliminates innovation, so here again, we see a trade-off between objectivity and flexibility. With that in mind, I want to discuss very specific solutions to enable easier legal enforcement within blockchain ecosystems, while preserving its viability and dynamism. This is where the law plus technology approach really kicks in. As I will explain, if we use the law to force legal enforcement, we won't strike a convincing balance between the four criteria I just detailed. For example, suppose you want to address the legal issues created by immutability without using code. In that case, you can pass legislation imposing that all blockchains create a backdoor for regulators to intervene. But if you do so, all the benefits of immutability go away, and users will go away too. So you can criminalize core developers' activities and impose fines on them when a blockchain is used for illegal activities. The problem is that, as I explained in the 7th video, core developers cannot stop illegal uses. So this does not work from a rule of law standpoint. Or you can prohibit blockchains, but again, you see how inefficient that is. In turn, all these solutions are confrontational. They are not accurate, hard to manage, and often not flexible. This is not a pretty picture. So let's try to do things differently. Let's try a law plus technology approach. Let's use code to achieve legal objectives. Here, the ability to enforce the law when necessary, while preserving the technology dynamism and survival chances. This might ring the bell of the maxim code is law, introduced by Lawrence Lessig. Code is law encapsulates the idea that the code is the language of technology and the defining constraints of behaviors within digital ecosystem. This means that if we change the code, we can change behaviors. This leads to a law is code approach, according to which the law should change the code to influence behaviors. But of course, the risk is that if you give regulators the power to change code the way they want, they may coerce users and blockchain participants too much. They may also capture blockchains, slow it down, and put it at risk. So what I propose is to adopt a law is code approach, but ex post. This means to change code to create a way to enforce the law, but only after an illegal behavior has been implemented, as opposed to trying to change the code to prevent all illegal behaviors. More on that in the next video. That is all for today. Thank you very much for listening. Take care of yourself, and if you can, someone else too. Cheers.